You get over. Oh, hello everyone, and welcome to the Woman's Cave. I was supposed to give the guest at least like a 5 seconds heads up, but I did not. What a funny thing to do. Anyway, so I'm Winona, and I'm one of the anti-thought ladies. And while I'm being way too professional today, I do not know what that is about, and I apologize. Let's go back and try this unprofessional. Welcome to the Woman's Cave. Okay, that's a bit more like me. Well, anyway, I'm here by myself today, which means that there's no Jade, which means I don't have any reason whatsoever to behave, except for the fact that I'm probably wearing spaghetti straps and not a full-on ladies-like outfit. Yeah, I think that's a reason to behave. Our guest looks adorable. Like, she's such a lady today. So I'm gonna go ahead and say she's a lady poet, and I'm a semblance of what the ladies used to be. Oh my goodness. So anyway, moving on. Using again a horrible adjunct right there. Anyway, it's going to be my obsessive one. I'm not supposed to use it all the time, but that's what it's going to be. So anyway, we wrote books, literary life guides for pop poetry. And I thought divorce was bad, and I thought being grown up was easy. If only I were me, a memoir in verse. Widows web, widows debt, and foreign coffee. If you are counting, that is 6 books. Yes, 6 entire audiobooks. No, that doesn't mean that all we have is 6. We have 11 more because, well, once you start writing, you might as well be prolific. So if you're counting, that's 11 plus 6. And that equals 17. Because when Jade's not here, you know I sign that out every time. I'm like, okay. You can find out everything that your ladies are doing, including a sign language video too. You gotta go and check out what I'm about to say next at www.n.thoughtladies.com. And you know, if Jade is not here, you know I gotta do it twice, because the narcissist inside of me says 2 times is definitely better. 2 times the me is the best. So it's www.n.thoughtladies.com, just like a car salesman. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to hear about our wonderful guest. Wonderful guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I think I'm going to be hard to follow that. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I am Rhonda Miller. I am a poet who lives in Lawrence, Kansas. I'm a life coach. I'm affiliated with Kansas Authors Club and the Writers Place. And so poetry is a big part of Kansas. I think people a lot of times are surprised to learn that Kansas Authors Club is the oldest writing club of its kind in the United States. And we have contests galore going on right now. We've got 8 categories of poetry and 8 categories of prose for the adults. And those contests end June 15th. And we also have categories that youth can enter. There's no charge for them. And anytime they are from the age of 1st through 12th grades, they may enter. If they place, then their poetry or prose item is published in a book. So they can say that they are a published author in 3rd grade or 9th grade or whatever it might be. So encourage people to look those clubs up. Kansas Writers Association does a phenomenal job. They're based in Kansas City. So, and I have 5, you wanted sign language? I have 5, I'm not very good at that, 5 books of poetry, and the last one would be. So encourage people to look those clubs up. Kansas Writers Association does a phenomenal job. They're based in Kansas. And I have 5. You wanted sign language? I have 5.
Okay. So my next question would be, how did you get started?
I was fortunate enough to live with a man when I was 3. After my mother died, I lived with an uncle who very much encouraged me to read and learn my nursery rhymes. And I learned a lot through osmosis, spelling and vocabulary as my sister was in kindergarten. So I just really learned a love of reading, and then had been encouraged as that became my means of sharing my voice from a very early age. Things that I couldn't talk about, generally speaking, I was able to write about, thankfully. And I know that you appreciate the importance of voice as an author.
Oh, definitely. Can I say that I hear this a lot, like we do this one thing where we interviewed some poet laureates and we put them all together as one video. And while we were listening to them, we recognized they kept talking about not being able to say certain things or being awkward and like putting their emotions down on paper, which really helped them sort through it.
Right.
Did you find that when you were writing throughout your life that this was kind of like a way to guide your life and make your decisions?
It's very therapeutic. I think a lot of times we don't recognize that we have growth going on. But for people, and I encourage people to journal or whatever, preference they have for writing, to go back and look at it, because in a year's time or a couple of years' time, we can really see the changes and the growth that we've had. Whereas, just day to day or day in, day out, we don't notice it. So that's another good reason to write. But yes, it's you can really bare your soul through writing and say things that you maybe wouldn't say even to a best friend. So it's been very helpful for many people.
You have quite the career. So how did you decide that poetry instead of genre is going to be the best medium for you in your career?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had gone to the University of Kansas in English and creative writing, and then I was always wrote short stories. So it wasn't until about 15, 16 years ago that I began writing poetry, even though I'd had no poetry classes. And I found that it was that creativity needed to come out. I didn't have time then to write short stories. So poetry would just rather hound me even through the night or whatever it was I was doing, until I would take the time and pay it homage and actually write it down. So, and it's been surprising to me too, that has become my form. I know a recently deceased friend, a shout out to Roger Jensen, had asked me a couple of months ago, at what point in your life, do you just decide, hey, I think I'm going to become a poet? And when I look back at photos of myself as a very young child, even as a baby, my mouth was always open. So I think I was probably born a poet, but maybe it just took me a while to appreciate that and to express myself.
You've also had some published poems, quite a few actually. So can you tell us about your publishing journey?
Yes, I self-published my very first book, which is called Going Home, Poems from My Life. And then through Kansas Authors Club, I met Tracy Millian-Simmons, who has Middle Art Press, and they published, thankfully, both Moonstain and Water Signs. And then I met Curtis Becker through also Kansas Authors Club, and he published my last two books, which are Winds of Time and the book I Love the Child. And I Love the Child won first place at the state contest children's book at Kansas Authors Club 2 years ago now, I think, a year and a half ago. So it's been a thrilling ride, and my poetry has definitely changed a lot in form, and I find that I now enjoy spoken word poetry and enjoy entering some of those, that we have a category for that you might consider entering. So it's been, I even have finally written some humor pieces. It seems like poetry really helped me heal going through my life and moving forward. And now that I've gotten some of my memoir poetry out, then I'm able to write about different topics that aren't so maybe self-centered, that are more about generalizing or humor and, different types of topics.
Barely, I'm just throwing this out there, and it has nothing to do with the interview whatsoever, but I love your nails. I just saw when you pulled your hair back, and I was like, aren't they the cutest? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Gardening season is happening, so they probably aren't going to last long.
Oh, you garden? What's in the garden?
I actually, all different types of flowers, hibiscus and iris and hydrangea, and a recent thing that I absolutely love is the Horsetail Plant, which is a prehistoric plant that looks a lot like bamboo. So it's really cool because it kind of has little segments, and you can twist off a segment and then screw it back on again, which is just unbelievable. It's magical. But I really like lilies and cannas and just pretty much anything that blooms. Lavender is wonderful.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. I can never, not that you ever offered, but I'm gonna just tell you, I don't think I can come visit because I'm allergic to the lavender smell. But they're gorgeous to look at.
Yes, I would give you a mask. You could mask up.
There you go. Oh, I'm doing it anyway because I'm allergic to pollen, so messed up all the time. But
Yep.
back on subject, I promise. I said 3 to 7 questions, and I'm not counting that one as
Okay.
a question.
Fair enough.
I have a few more left. Can you tell us a bit about finding the Kansas Writers Association and how that helped you grow as an author?
So actually it was Kansas Authors Club, and I live in Lawrence, and we have 7 districts of Kansas Authors Club across the state of Kansas. Lawrence is District 2, and it encompasses Kansas City and Emporia and some other areas around. So we were hosting the convention, the state convention, and someone actually had seen a full page spread in the newspaper and said, did you know there's a convention going on just around the corner from where I live? And so I went to check it out and met some wonderful people, Vicki, Julian, and decided to go ahead and join. And it has been an amazing journey. I became their poetry contest manager for the state that next year and did that for 4 years. And then I became their vice president, and then I became the state president. So you can really move along quickly if you have an interest, and it really helped me meet poets and authors, not only throughout the state of Kansas, but pretty much all over the United States and other places in the world. So we are a vast group. People sometimes don't know about us, or maybe they try to avoid us, but we are out there.
I ask every person that says that they're in an association and on the board, so I have to ask you. I'm not sure if we should count this as one of the 7 either, but is there a conference?
Is there a conference?
Yes, because most writers associations then have a conference to go with it. So
yeah, we have the conventions, and this year our convention will be in Lawrence again. Last year it was in Topeka. The year before that it was Colby, and the 2 prior ones had to be via Zoom because of COVID restrictions. But we're really counting on being able to have the convention in person this year, and we have wonderful presenters. I don't know if you're familiar with Academy Award winner Kevin Wilmot. He was one of our presenters 2 years ago, and so we have some amazing presentations. And as you know, if you've been involved in any club, there's just that camaraderie. You become friends with people, even if you only see them there again once a year at a convention, or you email now. We have the ability to stay in touch. There's groups on Facebook where, we trade off writing poems, and then somebody can critique your work, or you meet publishers that way, or you're invited to do something like this. And so it's been really a fascinating ride in so many ways.
Wow, this has been like a roller coaster straight up to success. No down drops. So none of the fun stuff, just going up and seeing the view of success. That is amazing.
I like that. I like that description.
Hey, I'm a writer after all. And as soon as I said it, I was like, so I got to write that somewhere. Which then leads me to my next question, of course, which is the narcissism question. I don't know if you caught at the beginning where I said it's so nice I have to say it twice, and I was talking about me. Yeah, so I do have a narcissism question. And it turns out last week I decided to add a confusion question, but I'm not confused about anything. So just a narcissism question today. Okay. Which is, did you want 2 adorable African-American young poets to come speak at this said convention?
If it was just up to me, yes. There's actually a committee that chooses who the presenters are, and I believe that they've already got that filled for October because they have to do it quite a bit in advance. But just to let you know, I do host the annual poetry fair. We would be doing our 10th annual poetry fair next April. So please come to that if you would like. I have an Airbnb. You'd be able to stay there for free, only because you're a poet. I also host the William Stafford celebration of a poetic life every year, and that is in January. So you would be, if you are familiar with William Stafford, you should come to that. If you're not, become familiar with him. He is like one of the all-time great poets. So we would have a place for you and would love to have you come to good old Kansas if you have not been here. And you mentioned narcissistic. I Jade sent me a flyer for me to start advertising this event, and she used a photo that she pulled from Facebook that I hate. So I sent her a message and I said, would you mind switching it out with this photo? And silence. And I come back with, that's really an old photo. I don't like it much. Silence. And then I was like, well, in therapy, my therapist wants me to ask for what I need or what I want. And then she switched it out. So nothing like using the therapeutic means to get an end, but I'm vain. We're all vain. I think that's a good thing to a degree.
I agree. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell my audience, if you thought I was vain and you see this today, you know I'm not.
Well, I could say the same.
Oh, maybe tomorrow though. Ooh.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so I have one more question, and then of course I gotta let the person that has joined our audience ask a question. I mean, you gotta do that. See if they want to ask anything.
Z is wonderful. She just hosted my last Zoom event along with another poet, Annette Billings. So Z is somebody you might want to talk to about presenting some poetry.
Oh, nice. And that's actually what I'm about to ask you. So thank you for the segue, because we don't do that here. So thank you for doing it for us.
There you go.
Segue. Would you like to read any of your poetry if you have it handy? Because you said spoken word, so I was like, excitement.
Oh my, yes. Well, I do have poems memorized, but I'm going to do one that is maybe a little bit less spoken. I won't speak it because I don't have it memorized. This one is called, whoops, if I can find it again. I had just submitted 3 poems for a book that Dennis Etzel Jr. Professor at Washburn is putting together about sexual abuse. And so I am doing some poems for him if I am able to find that one. And I'm having a difficult time. Maybe we should be talking to C.
Okay. I have to admit that this has been so fun and interesting to see the growth of your career and how a writers association has been truly one of the tools to make you grow. I want to tell everyone else out there that joining a writers association will do the same for you. Maybe not the same way, but it'll definitely help you grow as an author. I eventually broke down and joined one, and I have to admit my writing is better. I'm not a fan of critiques because it hurts my narcissism. No, okay.
No, I understand that completely. It definitely does. So, and I am just having a very difficult time finding the poem that I'm wanting to read. I can read another one if you would like.
Sure. I was about to be real narcissistic, but like, that's okay. I have poems. I can just read. And
Would you like to read a poem while I'm looking for my specific one?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'm going to read A Miracle of Adaptation. And this is a nature poem, if that's okay. I am 1,000,000 cattail seeds who exploded above America's largest inland marsh. I mingle within snowflakes as wintry winds swirl and uptake. I ride upon a snowy plover as it skitters here, then there. It searches for insects to eat along a muddy, shallow shore. I attach upon the back of a black-necked stilt. Its legs are the longest of any bird's in contrast to its body, an absolutely perfect fit. I cling to a sandpiper who stopped midway on its trip. Its migration from Chile to Alaska makes it in need of rest. I float within a blizzard from a bird's eye view, feel the rush of ruffling winds as I swoop along a bank. I watch shorebirds stuff themselves with bloodworms as they flow along Blood Creek. Once they have doubled in size, their time here is complete. I am swept along the shoreline where I embed in mud. Next year I will provide food, shelter, and materials in which to make a nest. I am an integral part of survival through adaptation, just one among the rest. So I found not only poetry has really helped me heal some of the traumas in my life, but certainly being in nature. And I know we talked a bit before we came on about how horrible allergies have been. So I appreciate that you maybe aren't able to be in nature quite as much as you would like to be.
Oh my goodness, it is so true. But I do get to enjoy one part of nature is I live close to the water, so I get to go see the water every day.
The water
It doesn't
helps
even
a
have
lot.
trees with with pollen. I'm so happy. So that I get to enjoy.
Yes. And I did find the poem I'd like to read now if I have time.
Go for it.
This is called Innocently Enough. The first rape began innocently enough, nuances so small that she scarcely noticed what was happening. Ownership of her child's frail body, she was hungry for any touch, yielded easily to a hug. Her face pressed against a covered body part, a tickle here, then there, so many accidental touches and apologies. Then the child began to disassociate. Humans hold an innate knowledge of where their body ends and begins, an understanding that taking from it alters the mind, twists the soul. It is no surprise she survived the first rape. She had learned long ago how to check out. It may have saved her life then and now. Dumbed down, she made noises to cover the sound of her own screaming. Eyes closed tight, she drifted to a higher realm, finding beauty in the black space she readily created. It was dark there. No one could find her. No one could hurt her. She could no longer hear or see. She no longer felt. She ceased to exist.
Well, that's just darn sad. Okay, sorry.
That's a delightful ending or beginning or whatever.
It's a beautiful poem with a lot of imagery. You really put the emotion in there. You can feel it. And I thoroughly enjoyed the reading and the delivery of that. I can see why spoken poetry is definitely one of your mediums.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So this is how people feel when I read that poem about death. This is not a good feeling.
Poem.
Everybody just sat there and looked at me like, what? Now I know.
Poetry brings out a lot of emotion, right? Whether it's laughter or just, yeah, it can be pretty horrific, but it's a great way to be able to express ourselves.
So is this one of the poems that you're going to go ahead and submit for the upcoming publication?
Yes, it was one of the three.
So if that person, if any of the submission board is listening, yeah, you got to take that. Sorry.
I will let them know.
Who else is on the list? Just move them. That one has to go. That is amazing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Can you tell us where we can find out more information about? Oh no, I did have one more question.
Okay.
How does one attempt to speak? Like, do you do a submission process for the convention? That's just so the writers who are listening will know.
Okay. Find out what your writing groups are, whether it's in your state or around the United States. If you don't mind traveling, go on and, kind of just make note of when they do host their conventions or when they are open for proposals. One of the main things to do is to really get involved with clubs, because you'll find out a lot of that information just through being involved with the club. They send it to the members and will ask specifically members, do you have a presentation idea? Would you like to present? And then there again, it's just a matter of filling out a form oftentimes and submitting it online. And the convention committee determines they like to have a variety of presenters, whether it's, fiction or science fiction or erotica or poetry or children's books. We need writers who present on editing or small book presses. And so there's just a ton of variety, even people who enjoy drawing. I mean, we need illustrators as writers. So there's a place for everyone. I think a lot of times folks mistakenly think that, well, I don't write. I love to read, but I don't write. So why would I want to join that? But we need readers. I mean, as you know, they're essential to what we do. And a lot of times until we get feedback from somebody who is a reader, we don't know where our errors are or how we can make something better.
I love that, because it was a reader who changed, as Jade's not here to say it, so I'm going to jump on this soapbox for her. It was a reader who changed the entire way that our books were written. And that way has come to give us so many more books and the ability to be unique. The readers are so important. And I really do wish more readers would show up to Writers' Conference.
Right.
Just to let us know.
Yeah. Which would have been your favorite writers' conferences or conventions, may I ask?
My favorite?
Yeah, do you have some that you've gone to that you just really have enjoyed?
Whichever one I'm speaking at.
I can understand that.
No,
If you're getting paid, it's always nice.
no, I really love PNWA. I like RSJ, even though I really don't like romance. I thoroughly enjoyed RSJ. I learned so much. Hopewood Queens, oh my God, how can you not learn so much? It's just pretty much about readers and writers, and there's so
Excellent.
many readers. And then I have to because, well, they have been the most welcoming to us and the most amazing and supportive group of people I have ever met. So I love their conference, the Las Vegas Writers.
Good. That is good. Well, we hope to get you involved in our club. That would
Oh,
be nice.
Ooh, definitely. I was just, as soon as I was getting off, I was like, well, I wonder what the membership like is for their club. Let's find out the price, and then we might have to join.
We have, if you're an individual, it is $35 for the year, or a family, and we don't, you can be a couple of any persuasion, however, you work that with children, and it can be is just $50 for the family membership. If you are a youth person under the age of 18, it is $10. And I know we've talked in the past about having a specific amount for college students, for example, and I don't know if that has gone into effect, but $50 for an entire family, and that's encouraging to the children to write as well, is so worth it. It's really a good price. And the writers' place in Kansas City is, I believe that's 35, maybe it's 38 yearly for one person. So they're both excellent writing organizations, and I highly recommend checking into them further. Please enter some contests, enter some of those categories.
Oh, thank you so much for being here today. I cannot believe I just did that. Sorry, I scratched my eyelid on camera. I did it twice. That never happens. I'm sorry.
That's okay. As long as you're okay.
Thank you so much for being here today, Rhonda. Z, I see that you're here. Did you have any questions for our guest today?
She's probably wondering when we have lunch.
No, actually, I've already had a late lunch, but no, I just popped in because I was on another Zoom call and I just wanted to, catch a portion of this if I could. So I just popped in, but no, I don't have any questions. I've enjoyed Rhonda's poetry for a number of years now. So, and I just love her when she reads and performs her work. So, and she actually did so with us. What was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? It was just a week ago.
Yeah.
And it was a marvelous occasion, and I always enjoy when she joins me for an event. This is actually the second organization we've been connected with,
right,
together. We got to keep this going, Rhonda.
I agree. And Z would be a very good contact for you. She has hosted some amazing live performances. I still think of one of the ones I did with a couple of other poet friends of mine in a Kansas City venue, and it was just remarkable. Dancers and poets and all types of performances. So Z knows the people, and she's got some great contacts, and is just really easy to work with.
Oh, that's so wonderful. You're easy to work with as well, Rhonda, and I love seeing you all the time. Thank you so much. And it's nice to meet you. What and your name is?
Oh, I'm Winona. Z, since you're here, would you like to answer at least 2 questions?
I'm sorry?
Since you're here, would you like to answer at least 2 questions?
What questions? I'll try. I'll give it my best shot.
Because you said that she performed with us, and I was like, that's nice, but what does that pronoun mean? Can you give us like a proper noun to go with that one? Like,
but by us, I mean groups that I was sort of managing at the time. So early on, I started a group called Salon 360, and I would bring together artists of all backgrounds and genres to talk about whose work addressed issues that were going on in society at the time. So we've addressed suicide, police violence, hair, all sorts of topics. And so I know of quite a few amazingly talented people. I'm so blessed to know so many people like that who have so much talent. And so I tapped folks with whose work sort of spoke to those issues and brought people together at itinerant spots around Kansas City. restaurants where we could all have dinner and drinks, and then the artists perform. And so that went on for a number. Well, I mean, I think I was just looking the other day, Rhonda. I think I may have done 20 of those events, and then I got really busy and started pursuing my law career, which I was just Friday sworn in the Missouri to the Missouri bar. So now I'm licensed in Missouri and Nebraska. But right now I am the president of the Kansas City chapter of the Fulbright Association. I'm a former Fulbright to Morocco, 2004-05. And so what I do here is actually very similar to what I did with Salon 360. Every time I get a chance and I can get away with it, I bring artists into the conversation. And so yeah, we have events like that. We are also will be doing lectures, and there have been calls for workshops. And so Rhonda, if you're interested in doing a workshop on poetry or anything like that, please let me know. I don't know if you practice in that area. I think you do though, Rhonda.
I teach the importance of voice and trauma transformation at Johnson County College and Corrections and School of Trades now. So I would be thrilled to present something like that, or even there again, how our story changes over time. But we can talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, because I've got a number of calls from our chapter members wanting workshops. So if we can develop a workshop series, and then we'll talk about the details. But I would love to talk to you about that, Rhonda. And so,
wonderful.
And so, tell me your name. Yeah, there's a little bit of an echo. And so, could you tell me your name again, the ladies? I see one lady.
That's
but
actually good enough. The ladies is fine. I'm Winona, but we consider
Winona. Did you say Winona?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I got that. Winona is one of my favorite artists, Winona Ryder. So I'll definitely remember that. Yeah, so it's nice to meet you as well. So, and look out for, well, I don't know how you would find it, but if you ever see the Kansas City chapter of the Fulbright Association, do visit and come to our events. We'd love to have you.
Z, what's your next event, and where can we find out more information about it?
Our next event actually is coming up on Wednesday. We have two Fulbright alumni, a young man and a young woman. The young man is from Indonesia, and he's done a Fulbright at the University of Kansas. He just he earned his PhD through that Fulbright experience at the University of Kansas. And we have a young lady. She's going to be presenting on that panel with him, and she was a University of Central Missouri graduate who was sent to Morocco as an English teaching assistant. So on Wednesday of next week, we'll be hosting them on that panel of their Fulbright, talking about their Fulbright experience. And I don't see a chat option, or do I? Yeah, I do. Okay, I can put in the chat, or you're probably better at remembering it than I would be if I wasn't in the chat. But if you go to Kansas City, you'll know this is their website.
Okay.
Wonderful. How nice to have some people connecting from Maryland. Z, they are in Maryland.
Yes, Maryland to Kansas. I'm kind of excited.
You're in Maryland?
I am.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. We tend to get, we've had folks at our events as far away as Cyprus. So
wow.
Yeah, so it's really fun to have this Zoom opportunity. And I've attended so many events that other people have put together that I would have never had an opportunity to go to, because I would have never gone to France just for, a 1 hour event or things like that. So I hope, I know our chapter will continue to make good use of its web options. So anyway, there is our website, kansascity.fulbrightchapters.org, and all of our events are posted on our website, and they will lead you to our Eventbrite invitation, so that you can, register and be part of the audience or participant, whatever happens to be going on for that particular event at the time. But yeah, that's how you can find us. And we have a calendar on our website too that lists all of our events that are upcoming. So thank you for letting me put that in the chat. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Z, thank you so much for being here today. Rhonda, let's wrap this up one more time. Tell us about any of your next events where you are reading or speaking, and then also tell us about where we can find more information about your poetry and Kansas City Writers Association / convention.
You may go on to kansasauthors.org to find out about the Kansas Authors Club conventions, or you can Google the Kansas City Writers Place to get more information on that writing group. I will begin teaching again at through Johnson County Library Corrections and our trade school the beginning of June. That will be for a couple of months, and then our fall session starts up in August. And I will be presenting in, let's see, St. John in August. And I'm trying to think of any other presentations before then. I'm probably missing out on them. But if you follow me on my poets page, it's Rhonda Miller's poet page on Facebook, I post not only what I'm doing, but what other poets are doing, just to kind of give a shout out to people who are in that field and doing, whether it's a publication or a performance somewhere. I will tomorrow evening be on a Zoom with Caryn Mirriam-Goldberg, who is a former state Kansas Authors Club or a state poet laureate. She is fabulous, and she hosts a Transformative Language Arts Conference every year, which is amazing. And they are, I think, still maybe taking proposals for that. So if you go on and search that, you might want to put in a proposal and present on it. Or even if you want more information, her Zoom meeting is on my poets page right now, so you'd be able to go in and attend that. So a lot of things always going on in Kansas with poetry, and Missouri. I've just been thrilled to know that we live in such absolutely inspiring places.
Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap it up here for us. My name is Ramona, and I'm one of the anti-thought ladies. Why I keep being professional at the end is so confusing to me. And no, you didn't need to know who I was again. But again, the narcissist in me.
There you go.
You can find out everything that your ladies are up to at www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, go down to the middle of the page, and you can see the 3 charities that we proudly support. Please, you guys, take some time out. This is difficult times for everyone, including these charities. Give them a little love, help them out. It might not even have to be money. It could just be the fact that you know some information that they really need to know right now. So definitely try to help them out. And we thank you in advance for your support. Remember that wisdom is all around you if you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Will Nona and the Missing Jade. Oh, yeah. Thanks for listening.